It's been a while. Welcome to Lit Ladies Podcast. I'm Tory, and today's segment is Lit Night. Yeah, it's just me once again. My friends are a bit busy with their studies, so Fuvava is like busy with some of her things, so which is why it's just me today. But soon there will be other segments like soulmates and so on. So today's episode is gonna be once again bunch of random rambling. What am I currently reading now? Currently, I I read this book called Winter Song. I didn't like it much, but I bought two of the books together. Like it's Winter Song. The series is called Winter Song series. I'm not sure, but it's about Goblin Kin. Yeah, I think I learned my first German word from Winter Song, and it's der Erlkonig. So I've been like checking out a lot of Duolingo German things, and yeah, I learned it's called the Goblin King, and Konig should be like my first German word that I've learned. And there was this friend on Wattpad. I think she was from Germany, and she also said that yes, Konig means king. So anyway, so I plan to read this book, Shadow Song, the second book. I'm not sure what to expect from it because the first one was a bit. Let's see. I mean, the writing was way too purple prose for me, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of purple prose unless it's like done right. Like, for example, I really love Neil Gaiman, but I don't think his is like purple prose. It's just his writing has a magical touch, and I'm very biased, and I'm like a huge fan of his writing. But in general, I don't like purple prose, and Winter Song seemed like it had a lot of it. Also, the plot was a bit too underwhelming. I mean, not much happens in it, so I don't know what to expect from the second book. But I've heard that it gets darker, so let's see. I'm just thinking of the word, but I cannot remember. Like, I want to say something else, not underwhelming. What's the word? Like, nothing happens. This is what happens. Like, I try to remember a word, but I can, but maybe it takes like a one day or a week to remember the word because, yeah, brain is like that, very unexpected. Anyway, so I plan to read Shadow Song, and I'm still reading this ghost story gothic fiction collection. And yeah, I was just seeing it, looking at it, and I ended up, wow, there are like two bookmarks in it. I didn't realize it, so I can use them, thankfully. It's a huge collection, to be honest. There are like 10 books, and each book has at least like 15 stories. I only finished one collection, so like eight and a half, less than eight and a half to go. I'm not in a hurry, so yeah. But I really love reading short stories. I mean, maybe because I'm not good at writing short stories, because every time I try to write something, it just gets bigger and bigger. Like my mom said, I have this chewing gum problem. Also, I am currently, you see, I read a lot of many books together. So I'm reading It Only Happens in the Movies. It's a young adult contemporary book. Also reading the second book of Stalking Jack the Ripper. The thing is, I didn't like the first book either, but since I bought the books, I want to read them. I don't want to get rid of them without reading. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through them. I like finishing things. This is like I have to finish things. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but I have to finish it. I just can't quit without finishing something. That's just part of who I am. I also technically I started reading way too many books, and right now these are the ones that I want to focus on, a few at a time. Oh, so I've been craving cake a lot these days, and today I ended up buying because there are like some offer going on, so I could just like save 300 bucks, and that's what I did. But every time I crave cake, I eat it sometimes, and every time I eat it, I realize that it's too sweet for me. But I still want to try like different things. So since I'm done trying the salted caramel one today, I don't think I'll be eating this flavor from this specific place anytime soon. Probably in a year, inshallah. But yeah, okay. So yesterday I was talking to my ex roommates, like university roommates, and it felt so nice. I really missed them. I didn't realize that this would happen. I mean, I didn't realize it consciously, but it felt really good talking to them. I realized that roommates are like something all it's always been something special for me, more than friends. Even before I started going to university, I was like, I'm gonna get a roommate, and roommates are always gonna be something very special because you're literally living with them and they know things that probably many of your friends won't know. Also, since I tend to be a bit on the quieter side when with many of my friends, so they probably don't know a lot of quirks about me, but obviously roommates would know, even if not consciously, they would subconsciously notice a lot of things about you. It's just how it is. I mean, yeah, the same can be said about family, but family, they don't really pay attention to you the way roommates do. I mean, even if it's like subconscious for roommates, they just like they're like a bit more aware of your presence they because they're like in a new environment, so it's just how the senses work. So I really love doing this. Like I said in previous episodes that I love changes. Normally, I am a homebody person, but I wouldn't love staying at home always because I like changing things up. Sometimes I would go in cafes and read or write there for hours. Also, I love the smell of coffee a lot more than I love coffee. I love coffee, but not that much. Usually, I like iced coffee or iced blended coffee, which is like Freddo. And a few days ago, I tried affogato. Is that how you pronounce it? Anyway, so I really liked it. I like coffee flavored things because they're like less sweet. And I never tried Americano. I do want to try it soon, someday. Although I did plan that I would try it with Fababa and Newbie when Fababa comes back into the country, I guess. But we'll see what happens later. So back to the cafe. So I sit there and I love the ambience of cafes and the white noise and everything, but I'm not very observant. I'm not an observant person. So usually the expectation is like you're gonna observe people or you're gonna learn about the tidbits about lives, something like that. You know how writers or anyone who describe their experiences at coffee shop. But the reality for me is that I just be like busy reading or writing, just busy in my own world. This is something what I do is that I sometimes take my mom out because she's very observant. So she tells me whatever she observes, and I get to learn through her. Because yeah, I'm not observant. I just live in my head. Sadly, I call it Mounted Atamayama, the anime. There's a short anime of this. Once again, I'm giving reference, dropping references is what I do. Also, sometimes I like going out with my dad as well because he's good at starting conversations with strangers, which I will never be able to do, and I don't think I'll ever do it. But he asks random strangers about their lives, and they're just like very those who are interested. They do talk about a lot about themselves, and this is how I get to learn about stories of strangers. So I also love that aspect. So going out with my parents, there are definitely some fun sides of it. Also, why not? You should go out with your family as well. I mean, even if you're not in the having the best relationship, this definitely helps. I realized something. So on one of the previous episodes that I said that my dad was the one who taught me English, and a few days ago I realized that he was very much into puns and wordplays. I mean, he still is, but he was the one who taught me about puns and wordplays the way I don't think parents will usually do it. I mean, I've never seen anyone do that. So what he used to do is like say there are like words that end with TION, or like words that have like four-letter words but the middle two letters are like double E. So he used to make lists like deep, dear, stuff like that. Or like, congregation, expectation, stuff like that. So when I was like kid, I don't know, like maybe a first grader or second grader. So he used to like he used to have like huge exercise copies, and he used to make lists of it. And our job was like, if he ever learned a word, he would learn to remember the word. He would write it in the specific columns, and I would too. And my job was like to memorize them all, learning new words. And me and my dad are like same personality type, INFJs, and we kind of like have similar way of studying. So I love patterns. He loves patterns. I realized this way later. So when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, fun, learning, gotta learn, love patterns. So that's how I really got into wordplays as well. Now it's just kind of like increasing my love for wordplays and puns exponentially as I grow up. But a few days ago, I realized that maybe this is where it started from. I'm grateful to my dad for that, definitely. Speaking of puns, so like a few days ago, I had a very strange random dream. So there were like a bunch of eggs, like a lot of different color eggs, and they're like very big. So I think a voice in my dream said that, whoa, bunch of weird samples of eggs. And another voice said, yeah, what an egg sample. And in my dream, I was thinking that, really? Seriously? Egg sample? So as I thought it in my dream, I woke up right away and I was like, that was a strange dream. Speaking of eggs, I love eggs. I just love any form of eggs, whether it's soft boiled, hard boiled, omelet. I haven't tried the Korean giranmari. I'm not sure. In Japanese, maybe they call it tamagoyaki. I haven't tried it yet. Wait, I think I did try it. So I like them. I also love sunny side up. I love crispy fried eggs. I love mashed eggs. There are like very different version of eggs I have also tried. I love garlic, and I sometimes put garlic in my omelet. I know. If you're a garlic fan, maybe you will be able to relate to it. If you're not, then you should try it. Like sometimes I put chopped garlics in my eggs when I make omelet, and sometimes I used garlic paste in it. So the texture is like different, but I love them both. And there are like some specific style of fried eggs. So we already know the one that's sunny side up, but sometimes they're like a crispy fried version of it. Like you fry it in high heat for some time and it kind of gets crispy, but the yolk is still like soft. I really love this one as well. And there's another one, I call it sunny side in. So what this is like, you fry the egg for so long that the yolk kind of tastes like hard boiled yolk, but it's fried egg. I really like it. It's very salty for some reason. And I realized that the taste of eggs definitely change depending on the temperature you're using in the stove and many other things, timing and everything, which like really surprises me. Like that eggs is like such a versatile thing. I love them. I haven't tried deviled eggs yet, but I do want to. But there's this version, mashed eggs. It's like hard boiled eggs, but you mash it like mashed potatoes. But in the mashed one, I put mustard oil, salt, chopped. Sometimes I put chopped dried red chilies. And if it's like too hot and spicy for you, then you can use green chilies as well. I also use chopped onions. So like you mash them and it just, oh my god, I love it. It's so good. Is there anything else I can make out of eggs? Hmm. Well, there's definitely this one, like you can make curry out of using boiled eggs. That's also another one, but I think it's my least favorite one. I just like the ones that I've mentioned earlier. So yeah, there you go. Lots of eggs recipe sample example of eggs recipes. Okay. Okay, so oh right, so this I few days ago I was writing in my journal, this thought suddenly came in my mind. So I sometimes do bookstagram stuff. So I think one of the earlier bookstagram posts was on March 22. So as I took it, it was like my first bookstagram, something that I gave a lot of effort in, I remember. And I was like jokingly, I was probably jokingly telling myself that after today, after tonight, everything will change. I think I said something like that jokingly. I could be wrong. Assuming I did say that, I did think that this, because like usually I didn't give much effort, but that night I remember I gave a lot of effort, like making the setting, the atmosphere. And after I was done, I was happy with the result and I posted it. So what happened is like for Bava, she commented on my post after for like the first time on Instagram. What happened is like that I was like a huge we were like dorm bungalow mates in our freshman year, but later our dorms changed, so we kind of got distant and got busy with our lives. So after so long, like say around 4 years later, she commented, let's see, I think like wait, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 5, almost 5 years, four and a half for like four, okay, 4 years at least. 4 years later, she was like, she commented and she was like, I kind of got emotional, but not really. I was just trying to tell myself that I won't get emotional over this because it's true. I miss my friends. And after graduation, everybody's like busy with their lives. I am as well. So it was kind of like weird that, oh, okay, she commented. I was like happy and I was also trying not to feel anything because I didn't want to be overwhelmed. But later she also knocked me on the chat on Instagram, and later that night we once again we were like talking on WhatsApp on phone calls, and she learned that I was like a fan of Stray Kids since 18, and she was like very surprised because she didn't know that. So she got into Stray Kids like last fall time around Thunderous era anyway. So when she learned about it, like we talked about it, and then our conversation kind of became very Stray Kids centric. And this April, she gave me this prompt of a fan fiction, and ever since, I'm just like busy writing fan fictions. And thinking about it, it's like that's like a big change because I didn't expect this year is gonna be about fan fiction so much because I thought that I would focus on historical fantasy, but it's okay. But the thought is like funny is like you don't know, you never know where life takes you. And the fact that now I have a podcast with her, we this is like very unexpected, and it started with that Instagram post. So it's kind of like fun, magical, life being life, interesting. So for a few days, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is PMS or anything, but since I have PCOS, I have irregular menstruation. So around the time, I'm not sure why I feel like this, but it feels like something is missing. Like I'm not sure if I'm the only one who feels like it's like there's this hollow feeling inside me. And I try not to focus on it too much and try to just live my life because I don't want to get hanging over this thing. And I consider myself an optimistic person, even though yes, we everyone has their moments of sorrow and or whatever it is. It's just there is going to be ups and downs about life. So yeah, There's that hollow feeling. I'm trying not to focus on it. Just, yeah, I guess this is how I'm trying to deal with it. By not dealing with it, I'm not sure if this is the most healthy way to do, but okay. That was a weird turn of conversation. I'm just like saying whatever. But yeah, I mean, lit nights are like that. I should have an episode sometimes where I'd be like talking about books. But for now, today's episode was about puns mostly and eggs, so it's example of something. LOL. All right. So, should I have any prompt for today? Well, I don't know. What should be today's prompt? Well, let's think about something related to eggs. I don't know. Write about eggs. That's not a prompt. That's just a word, but you can use it anyhow. Like bunch of eggs. There should be like a magical egg. Like, that golden goose thing. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, I think I should end today's episode. Have a lit night. Bye.